All right. Welcome everyone. This is Tanaka Wabichidomu representing Golden Cloud Network, and today we have a guest. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself.
I'm Siphosenkosi Jedidah Kadzutu, an entrepreneur, just a young man, just being simple. But I think that's my humble intro.
Okay, nice.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. So I'm just going to state the objective of the interview.
Sure.
To emit knowledge and experience that will guide and empower the viewer.
Okay.
So we're going to start with this first section of the interview, which is background. So are you a firstborn? What's your family standing? Are you a firstborn, lastborn?
Alright, so I'm the firstborn of 9. I know it's people looking but I think firstborn of 9. 5 from my dad's side, but it's their whole family.
Yes. Okay. So being the firstborn, how has that influenced the person that you are today? Has it played a role in shaping the person that you are today?
Yeah, in some way, because you have to set the bar every single time. So one of the things that I've always had to make sure, especially growing up, was obviously in primary school, the first exam is grade 7. You have to make sure at least your results were good enough. You place a bar, but all my younger siblings have done exceptionally well. So for example, grade 7 had 8 units. Then my sister came after me, she had 4 units. And then the rest didn't then get grade 7 when they left the country. But I'm sure that didn't have done the same. So obviously passing the O levels, A levels, just doing everything just to set the bar. I think that's part of being a firstborn. So yeah.
Okay. That's great. So still on background, we're going to talk about the school that you attended.
Okay.
Can you share the list of schools that you've attended?
So primary school from grade 1 to 3, I was at Louis Mountbatten. It's in Zimbabwe. Then the second primary school I went to was Greenwich Primary School, so that's where I finished off. In my primary school years, I was quite naughty. I think it's a good thing I was naughty then. Then high school, I went to Pretoria School. We call it the greatest country in this so I did my 6 years there. Really great experience that I had there, and I think it shaped a lot of how I think, how I view life, how I attack life, and I think my high school is what I would say really did quite a bit for me. So one of the things that were obviously very critical at PE was being a gentleman, and they strived to mold you to be a gentleman for a good citizen for the nation, and obviously just look at the world as an oyster, so that you just go attack it and get the problem inside. So that's just how I've always looked at life, and striving to always be the best no matter what the odds are. So looking at what you have. So I think that's what PE taught me. My journey in such a great school, it was a great melting pot. If I think of it. You have the richest of the rich and poorest of the poorest at that school, but the minute they wore that uniform, everyone was the same. So, it gave me that idea of no matter where you come from, no matter the background, the days at the top of your career, what you didn't do after that, it's up to you. So, that's something that I really took from high school. So,
Sounds like you really gained a lot from your experience at Prince Edward School, which just shows us the influence or the impact that the schools that we attend to have in our lives.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's a great point to note.
Sure.
Moving on, career. how did you end up in the line of business that you are in today? And you can mention the line of business that you are in.
Okay, so soon after high school, I got called out for a job. So I didn't do the traditional route of high school then university, right? So I didn't go to university. I just went from high school, started working soon after. I worked for a furniture company. I did about 2 to 3, almost 3 years there. Whilst I was there, that's where I then stumbled on the opportunity of getting into the industry I'm in now, which is transport. We had a policy of when you buy a piece of furniture, let's say for example this table, right? We deliver it for free to you after 2 or 3 days. But other clients wanted to deliver it on that same day or as soon as they bought it. So I got smart, hooked up with a few truck drivers in town. Because fortunately, the branch I was working was in town, CBD. And then what I then did was any customer that wanted something delivered immediately, I would then give them that option. But obviously with the trucker's fee, the transporter's fee, because I would put my $2 or $3 markup there. And then I did that. So it also blows away the myth that you need capital to start a company. You don't need really capital, So what I had to do was just find a product, take the transporter, bring them together, make my $2 out of that. So do that for quite a bit. Then from my savings and the money that I made from that, I bought my first motorcycle. That's how I then got into the courier service. So the bike deliveries and stuff like that. So I continued with the brokering for big trucks, and then now we're pushing the courier service. So yeah, that's how I ended up with transport. And then, in fact, that's how Sijeka was born. So the name of the company is Sijeka Incorporated. So one of the things that as I then started delivering, so I left Manhattan Interiors, I think, in 2020 to really zero in on Sijeka. And as I delivered, like I am from Sijeka. Some people then ask me, Sijeka, are you going to solar? Mm-hmm. So obviously the word Jeka, in Shona, refers to light. So I think I had 3 or 4 people say that to me. I started looking into the field of solar energy, and that's how we then turned Sijeka Incorporated into a group, and then we formed the subsidiary Sijeka Energy, right? And we started doing solar systems about 3 years ago. So we're now, in fact, about 4 years ago, because we're now getting our 4th year in Sijeka Energy, and the group as a whole, we're now approaching our 6th year. Wow. So yeah, as we've just been tracking along from the videos and the flyers that we've been churning out, a lot of clients keep asking me, how are you, who does these things for you, who does the marketing and stuff like that? And then when I keep saying, I'm just doing it myself, then someone actually asked me, hey, can you do a flyer for me, I'll pay you and stuff like that. That's how we formed the marketing agency, Paul and Co. Okay. So PMC is also on the Sijeka group. So we've also been pushing that. It turns 1 year, I think, probably in the next month, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, so I'm in transport, I'm in energy, and I'm into marketing.
Okay. So as you were speaking, it appears that the path that you're taking right now, it seems a bit spontaneous. It seems like when you go somewhere, you sort of like you see demand, you identify demand, and then you are very responsive to that demand, to the feedback that you get. And the moment you're responsive to that demand, like your stream kind of like branches into another lane, exactly. And that effect repeats itself. So it's sort of like a streaming effect, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because, when we talk about business with other people, it doesn't sound or appear to be that it seems natural because streaming is something that happens with nature. Nature responding to its environment type of thing too. So it's just amazing, and it just showed me something that with other people it's more active. It's like people who are trying to take the Zambezi River and put it in Australia.
Yeah.
But with Sijeka, it seems like the Zambezi River is just flowing,
Yeah.
and the Victoria Falls are being formed, and it's a beautiful sight. That's interesting.
It's beautiful. I like your depiction of things. And I like the thought of it starting as a stream. One of the biggest rivers in the world, the Amazon, literally just spouts from a rock. Small, and then it just continues and then it grows. But obviously, at some point, putting proper systems in place, which is something that I'm really learning and implementing now. Because obviously, you just want to keep, streaming into smaller and smaller businesses, but you now want to start building it. So, the first thing I said was, you can't really start a business, right? It's all about, like what you said, identify the demand, and then you supply, and then you make a profit from that. Once you've answered that question, now you need to start thinking of scaling that. So we're at a place where we are putting systems in place for each of those 3 companies at the moment. I would have loved to add another stream, but for now, I want to make sure that the system is self-sustaining, and that the beautiful thing about how, by God's grace, these businesses are formed, they feed into each other, right? How and why I say that, when we say, for example, we have a client who needs a solar system installed, right? We don't go anywhere else to look for the transport. We just go back to Sijeka Incorporated or Sijeka Transport. Then Sijeka Transport is the one that transports our panels to the site. When we need marketed at that solar site, we turn to PMC. PMC